Back on the morning wake up. Great to have you aboard. We love to talk about medical issues here and medical breakthroughs, including in research. Now here's one. It's an old, I guess you could say, it's an old axiom that growing old is a privilege not reserved and given and afforded to everybody. Well, that's true, but most folks will try to forestall the aging process. Why do some people, though, appear to age quicker than others? Would you believe now a new study says some people age 3 times faster than other people? A team of researchers led by an assistant professor at Duke University, they believe that some of the secrets to the process of aging may actually lie in understanding the phenomenon of why people grow old at differing rates. And by slowing down the aging process, we can prevent not just one disease, but many simultaneously. Well, this is fascinating new research. How legitimate is it right now? Well, healthy living and anti-aging expert Dr. Stephen Weiniger is joining us this morning to discuss. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. How are you, Dave?
I'm very well, thank you. And I suppose this is something you're tracking and looking at with great interest. What do you take about this? This was people who were born around 40 years ago, approximately, maybe just over 40 years, and they studied them over a period of time. So they were looking at some real long period, I guess, not just a period of time, but a long period of time to come to their conclusions.
And that's what's really cool about this study. It's what's called the long axis study, because they've been following these people that were born in 1972 and 1973 through their entire lives. And for this study, they looked at them when they were 26, again when they were 32, and then again when they were 38. And they tested how their hearts, lungs, kidneys, and liver were functioning. And they looked at how different diseases were going on, if there was any early onset diabetes, and as well as looking at cognition, how well they think. Plus, they looked at genetic changes like shortening of telomeres, and they looked at pictures of these people. They had other people looking at their picture and rating how old they were. And they found that most people aged about a year every 12 months. But here's the cool part. Some people were aging a lot faster, some a little faster, others a little bit slower. Some people aged literally 3 years and 12 months. So in other words, some of the 38-year-old people, they were biologically 28, while others were 61.
That's unbelievable. What about the causation here? What do they think was at the root cause? Because you've heard people say, I've met people in their 90s, they look like they're 70, and they say, well, my dad lived to be 99, my mom was whatever, I got good genetics, and I buy into that. But maybe they were also taught good habits, too.
And like a lot of things, it's the old nature versus nurture. Which one is it? It's both. The genetics that you have, you can't do anything about, and some people got lucky on the draw. But the habits that you have, in terms of what you do with your life, can have a tremendous effect, and you can choose to have habits that are better. The takeaway of this study is it puts all the other studies about diet and exercise into perspective, and that it's not just something that affects you one day when you get old. Good habits now will affect how well you get old, all the way through life.
So are these going, it's funny that we're talking about this because recently there was an app that was tracking online and trending online where, you take a selfie and it will, because there's such changes in facial recognition, it'll try to guess your age. And I saw people putting up saying, I look younger. But again, some of these same things come into play there. They're taking an aggregate and saying, what is the right look for a certain age? Does that become very subjective, or is there a way to actually quantify this from a scientific basis? Or is it tricky?
It definitely is tricky, and they're getting better with facial recognition. But in terms of people having a general impression of how old somebody is, the cool part about this study is when they compared people's estimate of how old somebody was and all of the tests that were done in terms of body function, they were pretty close to the mark. So the way you look is really not a bad indicator of how successful you're aging. And one of the things that I talk a lot about is posture, because if you look at somebody that has hunched over old posture, you think that they're older than their age. You look at somebody standing tall,
True.
That's one of the things that you really can affect that make a big difference in how people look at you, as well as how successful you're aging.
Sure. And I mean, you never know. I mean, with some of the population, maybe that's something with scoliosis. There was something to cause that. But with others, yeah, it just seems like they're aging at that stoop over is it's not a good sign. And so you would say that the visual that we get matches in many cases what their biological and what their actual real clock that's running inside. But 3 times faster, man, that's what they're saying. Age 3 times faster. Does that jibe? I mean, do you buy that, or do you think that's pushing it a bit?
I think that I've seen cases like that. One big case, if you think about people who have a lot of stress. If you look at the way the presidents look when they come into office, and 4 years or 8 years later when they come out of office,
Yeah.
everyone that sits in that desk afterwards, it takes its toll on them. So living a life of stress is a good way to get old before your time.
Yeah, and I'm not one to begrudge. Even I see the stories, of the president who's out golfing. It's a tough job. I don't care who has it. I don't care where you are on the political side. But you notice that when he came into office, there were pictures of even like President Obama. He's on the beach, and look at him, and there's his swimsuit body. Nobody's really doing that now because it does take the gray comes out, the lines are there, and stress does cause a factor. So what can people do who say, I think I want to have my aging process. I want to cut it in half. First of all, how do they know they're aging too fast? Is there a way of determining that by just taking a test? And 2, how do they combat it?
Well, there's a lot of different tests, but they're really not practical for a person to take at this point in time because it doesn't make sense. Although the beginning point is looking in the mirror and seeing what you look like, exercising and having fun doing it. Don't smoke, minimizing the wipes, the sugar, flour, and salt, and standing taller. It'll literally help you to live longer.
All right, Steve Weiniger is doctor and healthy living and anti-aging expert. Dr. Weiniger, how do they find you online? Where are you at online right now?
Bodyzone.com is our website. We focus on posture and helping people to strengthen their posture to stand taller and live longer.
Yep, standing taller. It does help you. It makes you feel a little better, and you don't need lifts in your shoes to do it. Just by straightening the back a little bit, it's a good place to be. Dr. Stephen Weiniger, thanks for joining us on the show this morning. We appreciate the discussion. It's fascinating. And more coming up. This is the Morning Wake Up, 1320 WILS.